when you first started looking at the reefs, how many of you were seduced by all that lovely imagery and think, oh, the colours are nice? Really wanted to get into that and record that. When you look at them, they truly are beautiful. So the goal, of course, is to create a collagraph plate that will be printed in collaboration with the whole class, Mrs. Cotton's class and the FGCU students. And you get to decide, are you going to do the living reef and everything that goes with it, or are you going to look at a dying reef and create things that are dying? And the research was there to help develop your thinking so that you were informed, and also to spark your creativity. And if you were open-minded and you really did the research seriously, you should have been spiraling with lots and lots of ideas. Did that happen for you all, or anybody? Seen a few nods. When I was looking, I couldn't sleep because I had too many ideas. So when I first started this, I did some minimal research, and I was really enthralled with this picture of the manatee. It just looks so sad and forlorn, and I love manatees anyway, and I thought, well, I'll make a manatee. And then I started to address the questions that I asked you to look at. So I started to look at what exactly is a coral reef, because when you're working in the community and you're being filmed, and you've got sponsors, because remember you've had a lot of sponsors supporting the cost of this project, I really want you to have an informed opinion and really know what you're talking about. So that was the whole point of the research. Could you have really defined what a coral reef is before you did the research? Truthfully, I would have struggled. So then this is just a little bit of my research that is actually a shallow reef, and that's about 50% of the size of France. I thought Miss Cotton would like that. And that's how big the ocean is. But that 0.1% is responsible for 25% of all marine species, which made me think, wow, we really need to take care of these reefs. And then I started to look at some of the creatures that are on the reefs. I started to look at different types of coral, and truthfully, I didn't know what any of these words meant, so I looked them up, and then I was like, I was on fire, and I started to come across a lot of really cool information that changed my viewpoint in terms of what I would like to make. So we'll just go back to the list. So your job really was to define what a coral reef is. What are the two types of corals? What are they? Hard and soft.
Fishing.
Overfishing. What did we miss? Natural disasters. What?
Someone say global warming?
No, I don't think they did. Global warming. Well done. So now you know what are the threats to the reefs and oceans, and what does a coral reef need to remain healthy?
Sunlight, plenty of oxygen in the water, clear water.
Clear water? I didn't realise how much the sediment affected the coral. I didn't read that one. Can you explain that?
It's like so like the I think it's when light and it corresponds with light and algae and how they grow, and if none of that's happening, then the coral will have
That makes sense if it's moving through the coral.
Certain types of polyps do eat microscopic creatures, so the water flow below the creatures through. It allows the coral to eat.
Well done. And then lastly, once you figured out those 4 points, I asked you to sort of look at the effects of that and draw different types of corals. So I was hoping that it would sort of move you, just like me, from my original manatee idea to other types of predators, or corals that I thought were either visually interesting or conceptually were very interesting. For example, did anyone read about the, where is it, the stars, the sea stars? Did anyone plan on making a starfish?
I think someone did.
I did. I forgot. I said I was gonna do this.
How about this for a comment? Sea stars are insatiable carnivores. They are predators and they will eat the coral. Did you find that out? I was shocked because I love starfish.
Eat sand dollars.
Yeah, I was really surprised, and I've seen a ton of them on Fort Myers Beach. Has anyone ever seen a map? Do you want to do an emotive piece of work where we feel angry or we feel sad, or you use an emotion to make us think about changing our behaviour? Is it a biological piece of work? You're just really interested in the biology of the coral or the surrounding environment? Do you want to make an environmental statement? You know, it certainly sounds with an oil drum, you know, that people will you can see beautiful contour drawing, very simple. We're not going to do just plain silhouettes, but I just wanted to remind you about your plate. I'd want to get these drawn today, and if we should have time, hopefully have time to crudely cut them out. Why do we crudely cut them out? Do you remember?
Like put gesso on them and like do the thingy on the back.
Well done. So we can put the X's on the back. Techniques. Okay. So I will check the research as you're working on your drawings. Who is ready to go onto the large mat board? Okay. So we'll get you some mat board. Pick ugly colours. Why?
Yeah,
Ugly coloured mat board. Do you remember?
Use them.
Yeah, because we won't use them for matting and framing. So yeah, we want to use those up first. Okay. Questions? One group of small plates. We definitely need variety. I know some of you are very small and meticulous. You like that sort of detail. You're welcome to do it that way. You don't have to do great big plates or medium-sized plates. And you know, if you go quickly, you can make more than one plate because you will get to keep the plate and the print. In addition, you know, we'll have a film of the big prints when they're done, and that will also be part of your portfolio. Okay. So questions? All right. Thanks, guys.